Books I want to read in 2026. So the order is random, and the first book over here is A Writer's Diary by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Yes, I decided to pick not his most popular works, but this one. This is, well, his diary. And yeah, this isn't the book that people speak about very often. Even the Russian-speaking Dostoevsky fans, I haven't heard them mention it. I randomly found this book in a bookstore and I was like, yeah, I'm interested. So I picked this up. The next book is Luckiest Girl Alive by Jessica Knoll. Just like A Writer's Diary, I found this one randomly in a bookstore and I read the annotation about a girl who has it all, but then there's this dark secret that haunts her. And as you can tell by the sticker, this book has a Netflix adaptation, which I haven't seen, and I don't think I will. But they said that this thriller is in the style of Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Well, let's find this out. The next book is The Truth by Terry Pratchett. And this one I also found randomly in a bookstore. And this is a part of his Discworld series. And I heard that this book can be read as a standalone. This book is basically about the press and how it works. So apparently this book is a satire about the press, and that sounds pretty fun, especially given that Terry Pratchett is the author. Then we have Stephen King, A Bag of Bones. I considered picking Tommyknockers or Dreamcatchers because these books are in my TBR in general, but then I looked at my bookshelf and decided to go for Bag of Bones. This is about a writer who goes to a village after the death of his wife and then he's haunted there. Next comes the book that I said that I would buy once I see it, and I finally have it. The first two stories about Elric by Michael Moorcock. So the stories are called, The Dreaming City and The Sleeping Sorceress. I also have The Citadel of Forgotten Myths. But it was said that it's better to read that book after you read at least the first story, even though it is said that the book is a good start for newcomer Elric fans. Yes, I considered picking up The Citadel of Forgotten Myths, but now I'm going to start with this one. Let's find out about the quest for Tanelorn. Fun fact, once every few years I like to reread my favorite books, or simply books that I read a few years ago, and I decided to reread two books so far. So I started with Beren and Luthien by J.R. Tolkien. I have already begun rereading this. The first time I read this was in January 2020, and it was the first full English book, the difficult one that I read, that also convinced me that I am capable of handling books in English. And the second book I decided to reread is Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. I do remember how stressed I was over reading this, in a good way, of course. This book did shock me, and I loved it. To this day, this is a top sci-fi for me. And finally, I have books on my Kindle, and I have two. The first one is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This is the Hunger Games prequel about President Snow. I originally borrowed the book from the library, read around 20%, and I had to return the book, and I decided to continue reading the book on Kindle. And the next book that I want to read is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Unfortunately, I did not find the physical copy of that one, or to be exact, I did, but it was incredibly expensive. And so these are the books that I want to read in 2026 so far.